And welcome to our very exciting kickoff event for Call to Excellence to start off our school year as well as our athletic year here at Westwood High School. Very excited to get going. It's a huge day today, first day of school, and our sport teams are very excited to get going. We do have a nice win today by our golf team over Neiman. Nice job. Congratulations. And hopefully the weather will cooperate with us tomorrow so that we can get all the games that we have on the docket tomorrow played. We've been working very hard coming out of the summer for the last few weeks, and to get that first game under your belt and get out there playing is always an exciting time, and I can't wait for that to happen, and I'm excited to get this going as well. Just want to say thank you to Westwood Boosters for organizing this event. It's a tremendous event that we do each year, and Westwood Boosters really supports Westwood athletics as well as athletics and clubs here at the high school. And you'll hear a little bit from Ken Kutzer coming up in a little bit. Just kind of on a personal note, I'm sure I'm going to be able to relate with quite a few parents here in the room, but my son is a senior at Norwood High. He's not playing a fall sport, but he's going to be finishing up his high school career coming up. And whenever I would have discussions like this with other parents, it's like, all right, now what? Because it's been such a big part of our life. He's been playing sports, much like my daughter, who's a junior in college now. They were playing sports since they were 4, 5, 6 years old, and it just became part of who we were as a family. And it's been a really exciting time. I'm so glad that my kids really enjoyed playing athletics. But it's kind of a bittersweet year this year, knowing that he's going to be finishing up. I really enjoy being able to go and watch my kids play. It's something that brings a lot of joy to their life, which for my wife and I, it brings a lot of joy to us as well. And hopefully, for the parents that are in the same situation, or parents who are here as freshmen starting out their high school career, if I offer a little bit of advice, just enjoy it. It's a tremendous time to go out and watch and see them grow and develop. And I'm glad I didn't miss many of their events, and I was glad I could be part of it. And I hope that you're able to do that as well. Tonight we'll hear from Sean Devon, our principal. We're going to hear from Ken Kutzer, who is the president of Westwood Boosters. Then we're going to hear from Megan McGinnis, who is here from Westwood Media Center, to talk a little bit about people who might be interested in videotaping our games to get them onto the cable TV. So she'll explain a little bit more about that, and then I'll also send out some more information for you. So what I'd like to do now, hold on. At the conclusion of Dr. Dale's presentation, we're just going to take a little bit of time, split up by sport, and head to different parts in the building. Some groups will stay here in the auditorium, and then other teams on sports will be headed to different rooms. I'll go over that at the end, and we'll give you a chance to be able to meet the coaches. They can talk about a few of the things getting going into the season. So right now, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Bevan.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Gillis. Good evening and welcome to the Call to Excellence, an evening of celebration and contemplation as we head into yet another school year, but also a year of athletics. Before we begin, I'd like to thank some of the key people who are here with us tonight. First, Superintendent Emily Parks is here in the back. Ms. Parks, as you might know, was previously the principal of Westwood High School before me, and has remained a great supporter of Westwood High School athletics. Also, President of the Westwood Boosters, Mr. Ken Kutzer, is here, that Mr. Gillis explained. The Boosters do amazing work around our building. Those amazing photographs you see on the corridor leading to the gymnasium are funded by the Boosters, and that's just a sliver of the work that they do. So when you see Mr. Kutzer, please thank him, and when you enjoy all the fruits of their labors, I hope you can think about the work that they've done. So this past spring, and I'll keep this short, but this past spring I received some sad news. A friend of mine's father had passed away at the age of 72. And so this friend of mine is a guy I've known for a very long time because we grew up playing sports together. And his father is somebody I knew very well. His name was Mr. Nort, Coach Nort. He coached me for about 10 years in soccer, and 15 or 16 years in baseball. And he's the kind of guy that was a really really big, jolly guy. And he wasn't very much of an athlete himself, I don't think, but he really found an amazing way to impart wonderful life lessons to us, but not in the kind of preachy way that you might imagine. And I'm going to share one of those with you right now, because it has stuck with me, and I think it's probably the most enduring life lesson I ever came across in growing up, and certainly the most enduring that I learned during sports. When I was about 12 or 13, I was playing club soccer, and he was our coach, and we had a home game against a neighboring town, and for some reason, I don't know why, and I don't even recall the town we were playing, they had a hard time getting kids to show up for the game. And so as we're getting closer and closer to kickoff time, I was looking around and everybody's starting to count heads, and you can figure out they're going to have a hard time getting 11 kids on the field today. And many of you athletes in the room, which is most all of us here, you start figuring this is going to be real easy. And so that's how I started to look at this. This is going to be real easy. And it turned out that they had 9 players, and they were able to field 9 players, and according to league rules, they were able to start a game with 9 players and go from there. And I thought, this is going to be an easy win. We have a full 11 players, and we have subs. We're going to run them into the ground. We're going to score all over the place, and it's going to be a layup. And when we started getting close to kickoff time, the coach brought us around, Coach North brought us around, and he said, he acknowledged the fact that they have 9 players, and then he told us what our starting line would be, and he only named 9 of our players. And so he was ready to put 9 of our players out against their 9 players, even though we knew with 11 players we could beat them. With 9 players, we weren't sure, even though we had subs. And so we all groaned and complained. We said we might lose. It's not our fault that they didn't bring a full team. But what could we do? Our coach put us out there with 9 players. Now I could lie to you and tell you we lost the game and we're angry about it, but we learned a hard lesson, and that was a really wonderful lesson to learn. But we won. I think we probably outlasted them, and maybe we were the better team that day anyway. Maybe we would have beaten them with 11 players anyhow. But we beat them fair and square with 9 players. And that was something that stuck with me all my whole life. Here we were, 12 and 13 years old. We practiced hard. We played lots of other teams really hard. We played and won and lost games all along the way. We had a chance to get an easy victory against a team who didn't have enough players to play against us. And our coach chose a more dignified route to play against their 9 players. And I learned lots of things that day, and I won't belabor the point. But 2 things that stuck with me is that winning doesn't mean a lot if it's not a fair game. And that one stuck with me forever. And then the other point that I also remember, and I think it took me a longer time to come to terms with this part, is that we share a brief but important bond with the kids we're playing against and the kids we're playing with. I'll never even know who those kids we played on the other side of the field that day. I don't remember even what town it was. But I have to imagine for those kids to get out onto the field knowing they were about to get killed, to go up against a team that was going to field the exact same number of players as we had, was a very special and important moment for them, because they knew they could play a fair and square game, even though we beat them. So that's something that stuck with me for a long time, and that's one of the reasons why I'll miss Coach North for a very long time going forward. And I hope that you guys, and I know that you guys have some of the best coaches in the TBL, who will share and impart wisdom and all kinds of life lessons to you, as well as their athletic expertise. And I hope that you will look for opportunities to absorb those kind of lessons. They might not be as intense as the one I just shared, but I hope that they will last with you for a long time. It's no secret that one of the greatest joys that I have as principal, and I have many, is that at the end of a long day, when the sun's shining, sometimes I'll walk out my door and I'll see that there are games sprinkled all around our campus here. And I'll call Mr. Gillis and I'll say, "Are you around? Can you pick me up?" And I'll be able to bounce around this beautiful campus of ours and be able to see you guys do the wonderful work of representing Westwood on the field of play. I wish you the best of luck, and I hope you have a great season with lots of wins, and I'll be able to see you and cheer you on out there. Great job. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Ken Kutzer.
Thank you, Principal Bevan and Mr. Gillis. I just want to take a quick moment and introduce you to, or reacquaint you with the Westwood High School Boosters. We're a tax-deductible volunteer group. Our mission is to help improve the experience and provide recognition and opportunity for the success and effort of our students. The support comes through funding or partial funding for some regular things we do year in, year out, as well as special items that come up sort of out of the normal budgetary process. So some examples would be funding this event, purchasing and acquiring all the varsity letters, awards, banners, pins, posters, as Principal Bevan mentioned, funding Paul Lillard's Scholarship Fund, providing a stipend for state championship recognition awards. So I think we had 2 state championship teams last year, boys golf and unified track, so a great job. Also provide funding for student fan buses, for championship events, equipment, repairs, and maintenance of a snack shack. So we oversee the snack shack. It's actually governed by the Westwood Board of Health, and we deal with all the permitting, the rest of that, getting the equipment there, making sure it works, etc. So what's new with the boosters? First, we've kind of left the Stone Age. We now actually have a website. We're under the Westwood High School site. You can find us under athletics, or you can find us under the section for parents. There's a WHS Boosters link. On that, we also have a funding request form. So if students, coaches, parents, whatever, have ideas of things they'd like to do, you can literally submit your funding request online. We also have secure donations through PayPal that we've gotten set up as well. The other thing that's new is this year we're going to provide a stipend to each team or each sport to use how they see fit. So it could be used at a banquet at the end of the year, it could be used for team items, etc. So we're working through the logistics of that, but we'll get that out, roll that out later this fall. Another thing that's new is a lot of our board. So Matt Gillis, who's been on the board, is athletic director and our representative into the school. Been there long-standing, long time. Everybody else is pretty much new. So joining the team is Laura Riley, Linda Healy, Chris Hancock, and Joan McGowan. And I just want to recognize the outgoing board members, Tish Healy and Mary Bamford, that did all the work for us last year. Last, I just want to encourage a couple things. One, if you have ideas, coaches, staff, and especially students, if there's something you would like to do or fund, and you have an idea, you want to come after and look for some assistance, please reach out to Mr. Gillis or file a request online. Go ahead and we're looking to support people got new ideas and new initiatives. Parents and staff, think about using the snack shack for your events. It doesn't have to be complicated. Even selling cold drinks and stuff can raise a little bit of money, and it also makes it a more exciting experience for all of your people that come to watch the games as well. And then finally, we are fully funded through donations. So if you believe in our mission, please consider donating. The papers handed out at the front have information on how to either just where to mail a check if you want to do that, or now, as I mentioned, able to take donations securely online through PayPal. That's it, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ken. I'd now like to welcome down to the podium Maggie McGinnis. She is a representative from Westwood Media Center.
Hello. So my name is Maggie McGinnis. I'm the production coordinator at Westwood Media Center. Westwood Media Center is your community education and government channel in Westwood, obviously. So in my position, I'm responsible for the community and education channel, which is Comcast 8 and Verizon 32. And this is the channel where hopefully all of your games will be seen. So why is it important to have video of your games? For athletes, having video of your games will allow recruiters and scouts to find you more easily and want to come watch you in person. I'm sure you all know that that's important if you want to go play in college. For junior varsity athletes or freshman athletes, what better way to show the varsity coach that you're dedicated and passionate and want to be on the varsity team next year than to film and be at all the varsity games? So varsity coaches, having this footage could allow you to look back on the plays and see what mistakes were made as a team. Enables you to give specific feedback to players and analyze new strategies maybe for next game. And also coaches, there is still time to find your own sponsor to fund filming your games. So contact me if you want to talk more about that. So parents, if you're going to the game to watch your child or a friend's child, contact me and I will give you a camera, and it's that easy. Students, student athletes, same thing. If you're going to watch a friend play, contact me, I'll give you a camera. Super easy. It's for all of you, all the students in the room. This is something that you could potentially even put on your resume, something that shows that you volunteered your time to your community, to your school. Looks really good on a resume. And when you're applying for college or even a job, it's something to show how much you care about your community. So not only are we looking for filmers, but we're looking for announcers too. Isn't it awesome to watch a sport, watch football on TV? We all do that probably. And have the announcers in your ear telling you what's happening play by play. And not only is it more cooler as a viewer, but if you are interested in sports announcing, this is a good opportunity for you to get some practice. Unlike last year, we were not able to secure a sponsor for this year, so it's really upon all of you as athletes, parents, coaches to get your games filmed this year. And lastly, there is no experience required if that's what you're worried about. You don't have to know the latest technology, how to use the camera. When you get the camera from me, I will quickly show you how to use it, and our equipment is very easy to use, so don't hesitate if that's what you are hesitating about. So I think that's it. You can get my contact information. I think Matt Bills is going to send it out, but also you can find it on our website, which is just westwoodmediacenter.tv. That's it. Thanks for your time and have a great season.
Thank you. I will get her contact information out to anyone that would like to have it. At this time, I would like to introduce our featured speaker. Tonight we have Dr. Gregory Dale, who is the Director of Sport and Psychology and Leadership Program for Duke Athletics. He provides leadership training for athletes, coaches, and administrators through various education programs. He is also a professor of sports psychology and sport ethics in the Department of Humanities. He's written 4 books on leadership, coaching, parenting, and performance, and serves as a consultant to numerous athletic and corporate organizations around the world. Please welcome Dr. Gregory Dale.
All right, so I know you're all here, just really excited about hearing one of those other speakers. I totally get that. Can you all cross your arms for me? Everybody cross your arms for me. Can you do that? Parents and athletes. I would love it if you guys could do that for me. So every time you cross your arms, you do this without even thinking about it. So I want you to unfold your arms now. Cross them again, but do it exactly the opposite way that you just did. And hold it right there. That's a little uncomfortable, right? Okay, you can let go. Parents, kids, I hope by the time we finish here, I want you to think about one thing that you might start thinking about doing a little bit differently. Might take you a little effort, might not be necessarily comfortable, but hopefully you'll think about one of those things. So, hopefully this is going to work. I want to talk to the athletes first. Athletes, I run our leadership program at Duke, so I work with our captains every day. Here's some things. I think that every one of you in this room, based on my experiences, have the ability to be a leader. But not only do you have the courage or the desire to do that. If you do, here's some things that I want you to think about. I think great leaders distinguish themselves. They lead by example, and they are vocal leaders as well. So I want to just spend a little bit of time. I don't know if you know who that guy is on the right there, but that guy's Lionel Messi, one of the best soccer players in the world, is not by a lot of people considered to be a vocal leader. Some of you in this room think, I don't like to lead by example. I don't like to be a vocal leader. I just like to lead by example. If you want to be a leader, you got to be able to do both. And here's the thing about being a vocal leader. You don't have to be the rah-rah person. You don't have to be the kid who's out there in front of everybody. You can be a vocal leader by encouraging the kid standing next to you. When you guys are doing sprints and she's really struggling or he's struggling and you're encouraging one of those kids, or maybe you're injured and you're on the sidelines and you're picking out one of the kids and you're encouraging that kid, that's being a vocal leader. So here's some things that I want you to think about here as we go through here. I'm going to put these three up here real quickly. As I just said, those who struggle. Kids who play lesser roles. Those of you who play all the time, what would it be like to come to practice every day and never get to play? You're a senior and you're on the varsity and you play all the time. How about that sophomore who's on your varsity team who doesn't get to play but works really hard? So one day after practice, while you're walking to your car and he or she's waiting for mom to pick them up, why don't you walk by that kid and say, wow, I appreciate you. I respect how hard you work. Keep it up. You make us really good. Wow, that kid. And by the way, don't text them. I'm saying actually talk to them. That kid, it's going to mean a lot to that kid that you took the time to do that. If coaches are yelling at kids sometimes, as they always do, I want you to be there to pick that kid up, encourage that kid. You don't have to be the person that's out in front of everybody that does that, where we think that it's the rah-rah person that's the leader. Who's the guy on the right? We all know who that is, right? LeBron James. What about the girl on the left? Abby Wambach, right? Now, I'm his basketball coach at Duke. I used to coach the Olympic team, and so I have a chance to spend some time with these guys. He is not yelling at the official. He's yelling at Kyrie. Because he'd already told Kyrie to do something twice. See, I bet many of you are really good at encouraging. I'm watching Abby practice one day. I'm there at practice, and they have a new goalkeeper on the team, and the goalkeeper kind of kicks the ball, does it halfway. Abby turns around and says, that's not how we do that here. If you're going to be a part of us, you do it the right way. And then after practice, I see her have her arm around that kid and saying, look, it's okay. It was nothing personal. I care about you, but I'm going to demand that you be great because you are great. See, being a leader, you also have to be able to challenge people. And some of you are a little uncomfortable with that. But I'm going to encourage you to think about that you have to be able to challenge people that aren't doing what's best for themselves or the school. And you also think about, do you have a culture on your team where sophomores can challenge seniors? That's really hard, but if you don't, I think you need to think about, can we start to develop that kind of culture on our team? So I also think leading by example is really important. Let me just put these up here real quickly. Sorry guys, my technology is not working great here. I want to put these 4 up real quickly, and then we'll talk about, I want to talk to the parents just briefly. Difference between winners and champions. Everything I'm going to talk to you about tonight, athletes, we don't talk about the difference between winning and losing where I am. We talk about the difference between winners and champions. Champions do things differently than winners. They do things differently. All of you are going to leave here winners. There's no question in my mind you will. The question is, do you become champions? And they do things differently. Here's a great quote by the Navy SEALs, and I think it's really important. In stressful situations, we don't rise to the occasion. We fall back to the training that we've done up until that point. So when that pressure comes and the stress comes, it's going to come back to how we do things. So with that in mind, I want to get you guys to think about these few things here. I've got to go back to that. That's a great picture, by the way. Be a great teammate. I want to talk about this kid right here. He now plays in the NBA. His name is Quinn Cook. But I want to talk to you guys real quickly about being a great teammate. I had it first. Kobe Bryant was not a great teammate. He was a great athlete. He didn't make the people around him better. How about you? Maybe some of you are great athletes. Do you make the people around you better because you're part of that team? I'm going to encourage you, being a great teammate, they do that. What's your role when you're on the bench, guys? What's your role if you're on the bench? What are you supposed to do? Say it again. Cheer on your teammates. So how about this? We're all watching, let's say it's volleyball, and you're over here on the bench, and you're not getting to play. And you're upset because you're not getting to play. And everybody else on your team is cheering on your teammates, except for you. And you're pouting. You're not cheering on your teammates. I would tell you, the message you're sending to everybody, all of us, is that you are more important than the team. See, if you played at Duke, you wouldn't play. Our men's basketball team, for instance, they filmed the bench during a game. There's a camera solely focused on the bench. They're watching to see what you're doing when you're on the bench, if you're not playing well or if you're being subbed out. This guy, Quentin Cook, as a senior, he's a starting two-guard. They won the national championship. As a freshman, he didn't play very much. They were down in a preseason tournament down in Hawaii. Quentin's got his head down, got a towel over his head. He's not high-fiving his teammates because he was pouting because he wasn't getting to play. They come home, Coach K calls him in his office. Didn't say anything, he just turned the videotape on. And there's Quinn, got his head down, got a towel over his head. He's not high-fiving his teammates. And Coach turned it off and says, Quinn, you have a choice. You can change that or you can transfer now because you will never play another second at Duke University. It's not about you, Quinn. It's about Duke basketball. It's not about you. It's not about you. And it's not about you. It's not about any of you. It's about your team. Parents, what are our kids? Their favorite way to communicate with us now is what? Texting, right? So parents, we're going to take a little quiz here. What is IDK? I don't know. Yes, very good. Our women's lacrosse coach was texting with her niece back and forth. The kid writes back IDK. She says, what does that mean? The kid says, I don't know. She said, well, why'd you say it if you don't know? She said, no, it means I don't know. How about NBD? No big deal. How about B4M? How was bye for now? How about TTYL? Talk to you later. Parents, how many of you have a teenage son? Raise your hand if you have a teenage son. I guarantee you get one of these a day from your teenage son. I miss you. KIT, we all know that one, right? Keep in touch. How about SUP? What's up? Yes, what's up? Yes. LMK? Let me know. How about H2K? Anybody know what that is? That's need to know. Everybody knows laugh out loud. What about BTW? By the way, yes. How about MUIM? I got these from our kids at Duke, by the way. This one is make up your mind. Okay? And parents, if you're a parent of a teenager and you see this, you better pay attention. This one is parents are watching. Parents, please finish this statement for me today. These kids today are what compared to us when we were kids? Spoiled. I knew that was coming. Yes. You guys are entitled. You don't have a great work ethic. You are all these great things. Look at this great quote about kids today. Check this out. Sounds like these darn kids today. Interestingly, it's attributed to Socrates back in 399 BC. I would tell you that kids in this room are the same as kids have always been. They're the same. Two things have changed. Technology has changed. Would you guys agree with that? And I would tell you, we as parents have changed. We've changed. Not these guys. We have. As a matter of fact, they have labels for us, parents. I want you to think if you can see yourself. Hey, kids, see if you see your parents in any of these. We got the helicopter parent, right? Always hovering, ultra protective, unwilling to let go. I do a freshman. Hey, parents, how long did your parents stick around when they dropped you off for college? My parents slowed the car down just enough to kind of kick me out the door. We have them for a week now saying goodbye. I do a parent session for incoming parents of freshman athletes and the driver is dropping off and letting go. We have parents talking to our coaches about playing time. Division I college athletics. We follow them to college. We enlist everybody else to help, and we rant when we think our child's not getting what they think is the very best. Okay? So that's we've all seen that one. Now, next one we call the karaoke parent. Okay? These guys, they want to look and sound like their kids. Hungry to be buddy with them. They don't like the thought of being out of style, hope to stay cool and hip, right? And I would say they don't offer the boundaries the kids desperately need. So it's more about being their friend than it is about parenting. I can tell, looking at the group, we got some of these right here. This is what we call the monster parents. Look at these guys. They're going to transform in a rage and back into a corner. They're going to apply for jobs and do homework for their kids. They'll get ahead. And how about this? Look at this. They're going to argue with the grades because they're the ones that did the work. How dare you give my son a bad grade on that project? And this next one, the bulldozer parent. How about this? Look at this. This has changed. We prepare the path for them rather than preparing them for the path. So what we do when they find obstacles, we swoop in and we clear it all out so that they can have smooth sailing. And we think we're doing what's best for them, but I would challenge you that we create children who have learned helplessness. And I would also say they struggle with resilience and the ability to advocate for themselves. Parents, 6th grade on, no more talking to the coach. No more talking to the parent first. To the teacher first. Our kids need to be doing that, not us. 6th grade on. They come home, they're struggling. We need to ask them, the first thing we should say is, have you talked to your coach yet? Have you talked to that teacher yet? As a professor at Duke University, I've had parents contact me about an exam grade that their 19-year-old son or daughter has gotten in my class. They need to do it for themselves. 6th grade on, parents. I'm going to encourage you. Here's a sign at an all-boys school. I love this. Look at that. Parents, do you ever allow your children to fail? If you don't, we are not doing them any service. I work with a whole generation of college kids. The first time in their lives they've ever failed is when they get to me. The incidence of depression, anxiety, skyrocketing with college-age kids now. And I want to argue in part that's our fault because we don't allow them to fail. I'm not saying we let them flunk out of school, but I am saying they need to be able to deal with some of the struggles sometimes. This last group, the stealth parent, prominent parent type over the next few years, even more protective, electronically keyed in for constant surveillance. This thing has changed things. 625 student athletes at Duke University, I surveyed and asked them, how many times a day do you talk to your mother or father on the telephone? The average is 3 times every day. Not texting and talking on the phone. Some as many as 6 times every day. The second question is, who initiates that conversation? You, your mom, or your dad? More often than not, it's mom, not the kid. I also tell you that we had a young man, I won't tell you what sport, when he moved in, his mom and dad, he moved in as a freshman, moved into a single dorm. Mom and dad installed a webcam on top of his computer in his dorm room. I said, why would you do that? So we could do Skype and do that? He said, oh, okay. He says, you know what, I never turn it off. Why? Well, he says, in case I'm oversleeping and say Mom to him doing the laundry, she sees I'm asleep, she'll call me on my cell phone and wake me up and make sure I get to class on time. Is that whacked or what? What do you think? Kids, don't let your parents do that, okay? Parents, don't be that parent. Athletes, I'm going to challenge you guys. Think about how you can do things a little differently. About being a champion as opposed to just winning. You can do that, all right? Do you have the courage to be a leader? You got to lead by example as well as being a vocal leader. Parents, go home tonight and ask your kids, do I coach you too much? What do you need from me when you don't play well? I will tell you real quickly, I got to do a sales job. I have written, 2 of the books I've written are written for athletes and parents. They're only 100 pages, big print, lots of pictures. Doesn't take long to read. One is called It's a Mental Thing. It's written for high school kids. And parent, it's called Fulfilling Ride. It's written for parents. It's got the stuff that I talked about tonight. Either one of those are $10 here tonight if you want one. But whether you do that or not, I hope you'll view me as a resource, okay? Thank you very much for your time, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for coming and speaking. That was wonderful. I thought you did a terrific job. It really gives us, a lot of things to think about, how we go about carrying ourselves when it comes with athletics. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it.